In this video, we're talking about equivalent fractions. Okay, so you just watched the other video, hopefully, about fractions and about proper and improper, and understand that. Now, we need to know how can we make an equivalent fraction. Equivalent, in the word equivalent, you hear the word equal. Equal. So if you have a fraction like 1/3, what is it going to be equal to? Now, 1/3 would be equal to 1/3, but how can we make it a different fraction that's still the same value as 1/3? And it's really easy to do if you know your multiplication facts. Now, if you don't know your multiplication facts, you need to be practicing those every night. Your times tables. You need to know times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7, times 8, times 9, times 10. You need to know those. And the thing I always think is if you know them in 3 seconds. So if I say 6 times 7, 1, 2, 3, by the time I'm done with that, you should have had 42. You need to know it that quick, and that will help you. So if you don't know it that quick, make sure you are practicing it either through MobiMaps or some sort of program, even printing sheets, even just doing it on paper. Do your 5 times tables, 6 times tables, be doing them over and over and over and over until they're set in your brain. Okay, so the way we make 1/3 into an equivalent fraction is whatever you do to the top number, you do to the bottom number, and it's multiplication. So I could do times 2 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. That's all it takes to make an equivalent fraction. So 1/3 is equal to 2/6. Now, instead of times 2, I could do times 3. And 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3/9. Whatever you do to this top number, you do the exact same to the bottom number. And as long as you're doing the same to each, you're going to have the same fraction. Same. So let's do one more. Let's do 4/5 times, I want to make an equivalent fraction 4/5. I'm going to do it times 6. Times 6. So 4 times 6 is 24. And 5 times 6 is 30. 24/30. This fraction is the exact same value as this fraction. Different numbers, but same value. Okay? 1/3, 3/9. Same value, different numbers. All you did was times the top and the bottom by the exact same number. All right, now, let's also talk about one other idea. Instead of getting bigger in numbers, we're going to sometimes you're going to have a fraction and you can reduce it or put it into a simpler form, and they call that simplest form. Okay, so you're going to reduce a fraction. So if I have 3/9, I can reduce that to make it simpler. The key is I got to figure out what number can I divide? What number can I divide into the top and to the bottom, that same number, so it still gives me a number, not a decimal. It has to go in there equal amount of times. So I'm going to reduce this. I can see that 3, I can only divide this by 1 or 3. If I divide it by 1 and this by 1, 3 divided by 1 is 3, 9 divided by 1 is 9. 3/9 we know is equal to 3/9. So I'm not going to divide it by 1. So I could try 3. Now, as long as that divides equal, I'm going to be good, and this divides equal, I'm going to be good. So let me try it. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Awesome, it works. So because they could both be divided by that number equally, they're good to go. That's how you reduce something, make it into its simplest form. Then I look at this, and 1 and 3, 1 is in its very simplest form, and 3 is 2. If you remember what a prime number is, a prime number can only be divided by itself and 1. And once you get to prime numbers, if the other number can't be divided by it, then you're done. And so this could only be divided by 3 or 1. This number can't be divided by 3. So now you're done. You've got it into its simplest form. All right. Let's do, the ones I always love. I love to see like 12, 20, 12 28s. Once I see that both the top and the bottom are even numbers, the way I start right away is I start by cutting it in half. If it's even, you can divide it in 2 for sure. So divided by 2, divided by 2. 12 cut in half equals 6, and 28 cut in half equals 14. Good. So 12 28ths is the same as 6 14ths, but I think I can go even simpler here. I think I can get it smaller. Same value, just smaller numbers. So I see that that's even. If they're both even, I cut it in half. So let's do divided by 2, divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Okay? 3 sevenths. So I've reduced 12 28ths to 6 14ths and then to 3 sevenths. Same value, same value, same value, because I'm doing the same to the top and the bottom each time. I'm just getting to the smallest possible number. Now with 3 and 7, I can only divide this one by 3 or by 1. So if I divide this by 3, can 3 go into here even? No. So it doesn't work. This one is 7. I can only divide this by 7 and 1. Does 7 go into 3 even? Of course not. So there is my simplest form. I've taken it down as small as I can to where they can't be divided evenly on the top and the bottom by the same number. Okay? So you would say 12 28ths in its simplest form is 3 sevenths. Okay. All right, so when you want to get equivalent, you can take a number and times it by the same, and you got to do the same to the top and the bottom. And you'll get an equivalent fraction. It'll be the same value, different numbers, same value. And here we also have equivalent fractions. This is equivalent to this, and this is equivalent to that, equal, but you're reducing it. You're making it into its simplest form. Okay?